Thanks to PlayStation for giving me a code for this game. Ghost of Tsushima is really addictive. This game finally came out on PC after 4 years since it came out in 2020 on PlayStation 4. This was also the first time playing this game and getting into the world and its combat. The immediate impression you get of this game is how beautiful this game looks. It has a kick-ass intro, very calm in some ways when the game actually starts going through and you see the beauty of the nature of this game. It's so magical that you want to stop everywhere and take screenshot, especially that very first moment when the title pops up. That whole area, I just took screenshots. I spent hours upon hours of time taking screenshots left, right and center, from the very ground level, from the top, flows up, changing the day and the weather, all of it. There's a sense of calmness to it, and that's what drove me to this game as well. I haven't gone deep into the story, but I'm enjoying every aspect of it. Roughly, the story is based on how Jin Sakai's uncle believes that a samurai should face enemies with honor. But Jin was learning how that's not always a requirement, and sometimes stealth is also a good option. That's more literal way of saying it, but I believe the story is more conveying the idea is that you should live life to the fullest in every way possible instead of confining yourself in a set of rules. The characters are interesting. They're not as charismatic and having a lot of depth or layers as some of the PlayStation games before. There is a special bond between you and the other characters, and because of the quests that you do, the side missions that you do, you get to know more about them. Of course, the story is built around trust and betrayal, and you will do that, I'm pretty sure, much later in the game. I've already gone through one of the betrayals in the game, so I am already intrigued by that. And there is a very cool moment in the story where a person has to kill or take someone down even though he really doesn't want to, but he has to because it feels like to him it's the one way to go to. Even though you have seen these moments in the game, but it works because it helps you connect with that particular character. But of course, another big thing about this game is its incredible and butter smooth gameplay. In this game, I think a lot more people are into gameplay rather than story and also the visuals of it. It reminds me of another game, Stellar Blade, which has the same tropes. However, for me, I did not care much about the story at all, and the characters did not drive me anywhere, and that frustrated me at times. But with Ghost of Tsushima, that is not the case. Well, the characters are not as good, but they're not bad, and they are interesting enough so that I want to know more about the story and more about the characters, and I am giving them more of a chance to know what's really happening. There is a direction set from the get-go, and it's going and traveling through that, and you will see turns and twists in the story as you move forward. Especially as you meet with more characters and you get to know more about them, it's interesting to know what they're also doing. What made me also addicted to the game is the amount of stuff that you can do in this beautiful, calming environment. You can pray in the fog's den, you can follow this bird around who is going to give you some active quests or things to do or things to collect. You can also take a bath, and that can be used to upgrade things that you need to upgrade from that. And there's just so much more that I just want to explore this world. But I want to go back to combat because one of the things that is really cool, and I've seen most of it in Japanese movies, is the standoff. It just makes that moment so cool and so strong, and you feel like you're samurai because I, as many of you might have seen all these samurai things on movies only. So I've seen the cinematic feel to that and the power that a samurai might have. However, sometimes a character would not draw a sword even though I'm pressing the triangle button. I don't know why that happens, but sometimes that happens. It makes me feel stupid. The combat in general is so fun. There is no lock-ons and you have to parry or block with your D-pad on the controller. You have different stances that you can use to break enemies' guards. All those stances are very unique. The one that I really like is the one that ends with a super kick. That was very cool. The combat is just fluid and smooth, and you're just enjoying taking them out, including bosses, which is also quite fun. I'm a special kind of player who likes games like these more enjoyable than games who have like a Souls-like-ish approach. The easier comparison to this game is Rise of the Ronin. While the game is great, I love the combat, it's amazing. But the fact that you have to time your parry very well, otherwise you cannot beat your bosses at all, sometimes get a little bit frustrating. I like a challenge, but I don't want to play a game where the challenge is too hard for me that I get frustrated. So sometimes that does diminish the enjoyment level that I'm having while playing a game. Some of the side missions are also very interesting. One of them was getting this bow which was cursed. It basically led to a boss battle, but just finding out the location as you are traveling through the map, and here you have to follow these beautiful purple looking flowers. That itself was so great. And the moment I was doing this, it was dark clouds, it was thundering. The whole cinematic, the whole look of it was pleasing somehow. The side missions are not as powerful as something like Horizon Zero Dawn or Forbidden West have. They have some really incredible side missions that you care more about. The side missions that I did do here, I didn't care much about it, but still, fun to go through. But to sum it up, I think the lighting, the environment, the look and feel of the game, the wind's blowing, leaves and particles are flying around, all of that brought that attention that I need, a calmness that I want to explore everything that the game has to offer. It's one of those games that you can just stand and look around and just have a great time. Ghost of Tsushima is definitely one of a kind. I'm still playing it and I know a lot of people want a sequel and I think it definitely deserves a sequel. So I hope Jin Sakai gets to come back. And speaking of Jin, I got to talk to the actor who played Jin Sakai. Daisuke Tsuji was a guest on the podcast Behind the Voice, my own podcast, where he talked about not only Ghost of Tsushima, but also Mortal Kombat 1. And by the way, he loves Ghost of Tsushima.